Hello and welcome to another episode of Scott Schilling Speaks. I'm your host, Scott Schilling. I just want to have some fun with a friend here today. Susan Hamilton is the creator of the Offbeat Business Media Group. And Susan, welcome to
How
Scott
you
Schilling Speaks.
doing? How you doing, Scott Schilling Speaks? I'm glad to see you're doing this again. You know, you belong on a talk show.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And tell us a little bit about OBBM.
So when we started the OBBM network, it was really just trying to look at how do we support local business in a different way. As you and I both know, starting over at Pegasus was pretty cool. Working with Robin Robertson was my very first experience into any type of internet media. And I took a look at that and went, why would I do that? But I was going through a transition in my life. And I know you know this, Scott, because you understand what it means when you're going through a transition. My father had just passed. And I found that I was going to be a grandmother. And I also found that I was going to be a grandmother, and my son and his girlfriend had been on the street through her whole pregnancy, and it wasn't a good situation. So boom, and then wow, I'm going to have yet another grandchild 2 months after that from my family who was just waiting to hear everything was going to be fine. So everything is boom, boom, boom. And Robin said to me, Susan, you need a talk show. And so she originally hooked me up with Pam Gertz, and that was awesome. Pam Russell, love that girl. And we're so busy, we haven't even had a chance to reconnect. But back then, she came up with the name Offbeat Business. It was the Offbeat Business Show. But within about 2 months, both of us really were in a lot of prayer during that time. And she had decided, you know what, I think I'm supposed to do this with my message, and it looks very different. And I'm like, you know, we just, that's how it's going to be. We had blown this thing up about 2 months into it. And then she changed directions. And I thought, I don't care for the name. I'll change the name. I just did that kind of, it was her idea. But you know what? Every time I've ever come to change the name, everybody else says, no, it's the perfect name. That's the name of what you do. What you do is so different. And that's real. So I just thought, you know what, I'm going to embrace that, because all my life in networking, and I know you've had this experience too, you think you're bringing something to the table, but if you will listen in your connections, they'll teach you who you are, and they'll teach you what they need. And I feel like that's really what's happened over time. So we went just from having a radio station to about a year after that going, I'm with a notebook and paper and on my bed. And I said, God, I don't know what else I'm doing, but I'm not doing anything until you tell me exactly what I'm doing. And after about 2 hours, and my husband coming up going, honey, what's for dinner? I'm going to get out of here. I'm not moving till I hear what I need to hear. And pretty soon I was able to imagine. I thought, well, I'm going to get into my imagination a little bit. And you can hear the piano in the other room, by the way, the grand piano. I guess somebody's decided to play.
Yes.
Right now. We've got two grand pianos in here now.
Ambiance going on.
All kinds of stuff. So anyway, it's just one thing's led to another, and it's really been a mission of, okay, local family business, that 90% of American micro to small business that tend to be family owned, of 9 employees or less, according to Manta and the Small Business Association, where they really aren't standing up for themselves. Why aren't they standing up for themselves anywhere, really? Criminal justice is out of control. I think we all knew that before the news media tried to separate us into our little pods of color and gender and everything else. And party politics, you know, media has just been awful. And by the way, this last year, I really understood what we were doing and what we were building up to for all this time. And at the beginning, it was really just a matter of, okay, if you've got skin in the game on absolutely every single issue, you probably have a home office even after you've moved out. You probably think your property tax dollars are going to help pay for your teacher or your law enforcement officers or your EMTs. Ooh, in Dallas County, surprise, about 75% of your property tax dollars actually going for criminal justice initiatives. And I can't tell you how long that'll take you days to dig out, but it's there. And why isn't it easier to find? Lots of ways to figure out how to pay your property taxes, but how to figure out where the hell it goes was really a challenge.
Agreed.
You know, so we were just kind of going through all those things, and I realized, well, media, I was teaching content back then, and I would teach people, and I just realized all I'm really doing is feeding a beast. I'm just kind of feeding. It's useless. That's not, the answer continually are you really making money off of the fact that you do that? And I realized, no, that's not what you're doing. Actually, there's two different customers out there, and we've got to serve if we want to grow our business, we have to serve the one that needs more information. And then now that's pretty a broad concept, so I don't even need to go there. But it's just one of those things where you start realizing, okay, what kind of content's necessary to do that? Oh, audio, video. Oh, this group doesn't see themselves in it. And I just started realizing that the people I had met, and of course you over those times, and all the really brilliant connections, I started to realize, you know what, learning how to navigate this space and learning how to master conversation is really going to be the answer to this issue where they're not involved in audio and video. And if they're not in audio and video, what are the odds they're going to stay in business, let alone the crisis that we went through last year? And now more than ever, I want to really be known for having how to have a better conversation out of all the garbage that you see and hear, so that we can preserve the United States of America through a stronger local business sector. Media can do that.
Well, the reality is, the entrepreneur is the lifeblood of our country, and we've got to do everything we can do. And I think the one thing that came through the pandemic last year for sure is business will never be done the same way again.
Yeah.
That mold is broken, trashed, gone. And I don't even know that the mold that became available towards the end of the last year still exists. I think this year even has modified the way business is being done again, and hopefully not, but it seems there are restrictions and things being put down in certain cities and certain areas right now that almost lend itself to going back into lockdowns and the way it was.
Well, isn't it interesting? That we, the people, we get this idea from a national news narrative and a national media narrative, which, by the way, has an FCC license for entertainment, not journalism. And so in quite some years, when the smart TVs came on, this became this mind control devices. It's not a secret.
Sensationalism.
Well, it's patented. The computer, your tablet, your television, those are patented as mind control devices. It's a different type of technology than we had before. And what we've got is a situation where we know that a handful of people can cause an entire world view that we actually have a whole lot more power in under the government here in the United States, which is, of course, why they would love for us to no longer exist and just be part of this globalist economy. But the difference really is that if we can stand up for ourselves and say, demand the proof, recall that board member, mayor, county judge, whatever, we have power here on the local level. But they largely roll right over us, and we allow it because we see them as some big thing, right, including giving media heads like authority and rule. When in fact, we the people have a right to say, well, show me the science on that. I can make up my own mind, and I will make my health decisions. We've got to do that, because our economy isn't going to survive. If you think it's just going to be, oh, well, now we're all Zoom in a new economy. No, that will not be America. That'll be very different. You can't imagine it without local business. So we've got to do everything in our power to do the things like Be Connected is doing, getting people, getting them together to communicate and talk in an area where they've got some autonomy and some authority in that space and can empower other people. I say right now we're at a spot where we can't go after scared marketers, and I don't mean that to be heartless, but there's always going to be fearful people in the world, and since when has that been a good marketing strategy? We have to go after the chest bumpers and the people that know they can make a difference, because the more of them that are activated and understand wisely how to speak to this issue, where they're going to empower other people that are going, something smells wrong, but I can't quite figure it out. And we can set an example, which, of course, as you and I know, the ecclesia is supposed to be doing.
Well, and again, the tipping point is the tipping point. If it's 16-17% of the planet, we got to get 16 to 17% of the planet with a good message for the right reasons, serving people. And I think one of the things, again, with business changing the way it's doing, having whether it be a video show or a video show that ultimately you can pull the audio from and now make it a podcast, so people now have the choice that way. I think it's interesting. I was talking to a client earlier today, and I said, it really comes down to knowledge. And I said, unfortunately, the people who have the knowledge are working to separate those who don't have it from those who do have it. And the bottom line is, how do you keep separation from happening is provide knowledge to those who don't have it and to those who do have it.
And you got a responsibility for that, right? That's what your voice
Exactly.
is for. Yeah.
Well, and so that's what shows like this hopefully do. And why it's really not, the show is not about me, it's about my guests, it's about what they're doing to lift them up, to allow them to share their voice. And that's what's really important. And I know that's what you're doing over at OBBM, is you're helping a lot of really good people share their voice in a way that they never thought they could before, right?
And it's a little bit more than that as a B2B network. Yes, they're doing those things, but what we're attracting and using those SEO strategies and just good marketing to go, okay, how does this message, what is the preferred methodology for if you need information, where are you going? You're going to listen to a podcast, you're going to go to a video first. There's books in there too. You've got a library. We know where to find our resources because you and I have been taught well. But that's where people go. If you want to learn something, you need to be there. We trust each other as business owners before we trust some stranger. We trust the relationships that, yes, there's a know, like, and trust factor, but media is part of that, right? And yes, audio or video, whatever that preferred way is. If you're looking for something specific, we strive to make sure that every show, right now we've got 19 shows, 19 podcasts, and 4 television shows on the OBBM network. And there should be not one episode that you haven't listened to and got something out of it that you can use immediately, something, an actionable insight, some type of maybe there's a strategy or an idea or something that you needed that's going to improve your supply chain, employment, your process flow, your marketing. Or maybe just your point of view. How about some encouragement, right?
Yeah.
And how to look into this community, because now we've got, addiction was high before, but man, after last year, supply chain isn't just the fact that China has put the clamps down on how products can move back and forth. But it's also, we've got a whole generation of people that don't really understand. They'll show up for work, bring your best, and make your company money attitude. You don't have great customer service these days. And so even all those things, well, how do we do a better job of talking to people, re-educating, knowing that what we've come through has changed ideals, and we've got to do something to help that conversation become just the best that it can be, so we can improve that area. And we don't have a whole lot of time to waste there. We really need to be able to master that. There's brain help that needs, there's addiction problems out there. And we've got to figure out, okay, how do we run a business knowing we've got, where are people that are strong, where are people that are broken, and how do we put the pieces together so that we can do a great job? It's just going to be that for a while. And we can, it's not impossible, but I think it's helpful when we have the conversations about it.
Yeah. And again, that's what I love, the ease of media that's available these days. And I encourage everybody to explore it. It's funny. Somebody said to me, how many people watch the show? I said, I don't care. And they said, you don't know? And I said, no, that's not what I said. I said, I don't care.
You can't care, because you and I both know that what they'll tell you for stats and what you've got a right to, they also tell you you're not even allowed to share, that you can't trust a bit of it. The only way you can really tell that your content matters, and I can't stress this enough, I'm glad you said that, because we've known too many people over the years, and I promise you, anybody listening, too, that you could have 1 million followers, 1 million subscribers, and not make a stinking dime, and spend all your time doing all of that. And and all you're really doing, my love, is feeding a beast that wants you to not be in business and take away your rights as an American citizen. So understand that that's a piece of something. So if instead as far as I'm concerned, I got an audience of 1, and the side effect is this beautiful ability to have to direct the content to the people that need it the most. This has to do with strategy. This has to do with organization and process flow that makes that content effective where it goes, instead of just something that's on in the background and becomes meaningless in the ether.
we were in a call with one of the sharks from Shark Tank yesterday, and we were talking about one of the newer platforms out there, and which is audio only. And he goes, I don't get it. He said, I was investing 2 hours a day. I had 75,000 followers. It just burned up most of my day. I got the followers and not a single penny from it. He said, I don't get why people just want to hang out and do it. He said, so I've come off it. And I said, that's exactly what we've done with our network.
Yep.
Is it's not worry about the number of people per se, as you and I were talking before we went live, the discovery of business opportunity, the discovery of human opportunity is so great when you have this opportunity to say, hey, what's your message? I'd love to help you share it. I want to
Yep.
support you in what you're doing. Are you game? I have yet to have somebody say no. I mean, I've had people say, well, why would you want to talk to me? Well, because you're a friend, and friends do that for friends. Let's get the messages out that are of service to people at a time where, quite frankly, they need good quality messages. If I truly believe God's plan and timing is perfect, which I do, the fact is, it's not up to me to put the right person watching the show at the time or picking it up as a replay later on. That ain't my job. My job is to produce the content and the concepts and put them out there and let the right people come to it as was intended, way beyond my control. And I know you're much a believer in that as well, right?
Well, it does, if we're answering the questions, so it comes back down to a content question, right? If we're
Right.
answering the questions that people have, and we are giving that our due diligence of bringing our experience and expertise to the table, it's a beautiful byproduct. And I know we strive for the systematology, every little piece of the OBBM network. I just got off of a 2-hour meeting today. We do it in person. I would do this for you, Scott, and I'm exploring Be Connected to see how we might put our shows here as well. And I just haven't had the moment to, because right now I know we really are pressing the in-person, because if we don't get off of this mess quickly, everybody's going to slide again. Audio and video in this fashion, it's important to be able to do it. Always was. It's not like I never Zoomed before, but I'm not going to let a worldview scenario be the reason that it's a restriction and I will simply be pacified on it. There's more than that. We have 12 feet of bioelectric provable energy above, below, and all around us. And when you and I are in the room, oh, Scott, you and I can talk for hours. We have so much fun, and we get things done, and so does everybody else in the room. We always have. It's a good thing. And so I really work hard on making sure people know that they can network at the OBBM Network Studios. When you're going to these great groups and you've got to now go into the next level, one-on-ones, come on out here. We've got a room for you. We've got a lobby. Come join. Bring someone and watch a show. We're recording every single week. We've got 2 days that are television. We've got the rest of the Wednesdays every week are. We do a whole schedule. You sign up for the OBBM newsletter, you'll get Monday events. You'll know exactly what's up. And we post them because we want that content. We've got overflow rooms for a studio audience. It's not just you're in here, but we've got enough space for everybody. Matter of fact, we're about to start hosting the American Business Women's Association, one of their chapters here. And we scheduling events already a year out for the big nice Studio A. So I mean, there's get them in this space and understand how to use media well, and then blow the socks off of every media channel you can. You must exploit it. I tell people, don't be so busy. We've let Facebook, YouTube, and Google, we gave them governance over us. What the hell was that? And we did. And I'm to blame. I taught it for years. But what is now, in the absence of that, if we don't diversify our media, they can do this to us as a citizen, and we become governed actually by laws that are not American at all.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I have a friend who lost a a Facebook group of 462,000 because he is a very learned, holistic
I was going to
practitioner.
say health, isn't it? Yeah.
It was health. And there's not, again, there was nothing that he said that was not true. And that's that there's such censorship to that, well, number one, it's un-American, obviously, but the other side of it is it's like criminal. My goodness, I mean, here
Thank
you
you.
have this opportunity to share messaging. That's why, again, I'm a proponent of anybody who is sharing good messages and getting the word out. We need more of that conversation, like you said. And you and I can sit in a room and we have that conversation forever. But more people need to be having it. And that's
do you remember the old days?
we're going to
Remember the old
save
days? Yeah.
what's going on, right?
Remember the old days when we were learning Facebook? Remember Facebook business pages? Was that
Yep.
easy? Was it easy to learn a Facebook business page? Yeah, no, it wasn't easy. We did it. We did it because, that must be how we can do it. I mean, remember, I taught this. How stupid to not use free media to market your business, right? I mean, for the first time, we have free marketing. Use Facebook. It's brilliant. And we started doing that. And it wasn't easy, but we nursed. And what we didn't understand was the AI behind what causes something like that to be as smooth as it is now, right? I mean, it's just you're breathing with it, right? It moves very simply, very easy. But there's a problem with it. It took quite a lot of time. It took quite a lot of us educating it on how to be. And right now we've got this burgeoning group of new medias out there. And unfortunately, what they're full of are angry Americans that said, how dare you censor me? And they jumped off into these other platforms, and they have put very little thought into how to do business there. And so the OBBM network does. And so you can find us on all those alternative channels that have these terrible names, but I guarantee you something. Any channel you see the OBBM network on, you will see responsible, intelligent conversation and shows and business. And because I feel like we're setting an example in this space, this is what business should look like. Yeah, they're angry. But guess what? They're your market because they want you to exist. So get over there and start teaching them how to work with businesses that have a patriotic vein, a desire to instill nationalism. What does it mean to be an American, and how do we do business here, and how do we preserve what we have? Because I don't like the way it sounds either. But we've got to we can show them how to do business, and we have to nurse it. I just wrote an article about this on my website, but it's like right now we are at that nursing and changing diaper stage, the brand new babies of the media world. And we're going to teach it, and we got to love it and nurture it and raise it up so that it can stand independently, because there's like 20 of them.
Yeah.
Why are we putting all our effort over here into something that doesn't even believe in you as a business, that you don't have a right? You're a resource, not a person. So I love what you're doing at Be Connected. Can you tell me though, when you're doing channels, are you doing them Zoom like this, or because I had heard I could do channels on Be Connected.
We do have channels. We do have, as an example, Scott Schilling Speaks has got its own channel, so that not only upcoming episodes are listed, but existing episodes that are already ready for replay are all available in a place. So we actually have a channel that I can send one single link and say, here's the library of Scott Schilling Speaks. The names of the guests are down below. Pick whichever one you want. Watch to your heart's content.
I like that.
And it's really amazing the response, because like I said, the amount of business that's being developed out of it is not exactly linear. And so many people want that. I did this for 30 minutes, so therefore I need to have that. It's not done the way it necessarily works. The conversations that have been exposed and the opportunities that have been laid open are absolutely phenomenal, and so much bigger than you could produce a lot of other ways. And so again, for me, 5 days a week, a half hour a day to talk with friends. I mean, that in itself is just a wonderful thing, you know? And so then you have a channel full of goodness going out there. And,
Mm.
and again,
So much power in that, Scott. So much power in it. Love never fails.
yeah, I mean,
So yeah,
that's
never.
it was really funny. And my guest yesterday, Adrian Chenault, great man. He's probably, I don't even know how old, probably about 30 years older or maybe something like that. But I've known his dad for a long time and I got to know Adrian. He's the CEO and co-founder of Contact Mapping Mail. And we're sitting there and he goes, I love you, Scott. And I said, well, Adrian, I love you too. And we kind of chuckled about it because gosh, they're going to be people who see us say that to each other and go, what's this all about? Well, what you said, love never fails, right? If you truly care about people, if we can send the messages where people are lifting each other up and there's, coopetition, right? If there's competition, it's cooperative or collaboration or what. We've got to get back into a collaborative society. We've got to get more to the middle and get away from the extremes of everything. It's the only way that things are going to work.
You better be ready to be an American though, and that is extreme in a world that says that you don't have. I mean, what we've done here is this beautiful experiment in as a constitutional republic. There's some things about that was set up for a little bit of extreme. It doesn't have to sound awful.
Right. No, I agree.
Stand for right. Right is extreme. Love is extreme, but it doesn't change. And I think you're so right about how we speak to each other, because that word has energy and it's going to leave your mouth and it's going to do things that you don't know what it does. That's why it's so important not to sound awful. Why it's so important not to let yourself get angry and start spitting awful things, because you are, especially if you're a Christ follower, you're creating that world whether you like it or not. So you best take some responsibility for how you say things well. And when you focus on doing what you're doing, that I'm going to talk with my friends, I'm going to love people today, that is an energy that actually holds back terrible storms. I mean, it really can just change it can dissolve evil.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's fun. Particular to this show, I've had everybody from a Jack Canfield and Les Brown and Mark Victor Hansen to an East Texas mom who homeschools her daughter, who is in a direct sales company and makes, $500 a month. And to give her the opportunity to come and share her truth. The reason I homeschool, because it's the most important job there is, and there ain't nobody better at it than me. Right. And to have her say, I do business in this direct sales company because its products worked on me. And all I do is share that if you have a similar situation, it worked for me, give it a try. It's not, trying to force somebody into anything. And she said, this really allows me to live my best life. I love where I live. I love what I do. And I'm the best one at it. Nobody's better at being me than me. What an amazing show that we were able to do, because now she's got the video content and the sound bites and all the different things that she can take out and really share a message that is spot on. Live fully, play hard,
live fully, play hard. Ooh, I'm high-fiving you there. Let's get that hip fixed so we can play hard.
Exactly. Geez, I see we're right up against time. Leave everybody with one little last piece of wisdom and how to get a hold of you.
Wisdom. I do believe that love never fails. That's just what I'm going to live my life on. And we can have a better conversation when we're really focused on the big picture. Don't let that get away from you. And I really beg all of anyone that listens to this not to ignore how valuable it is to be an American citizen, and just how vulnerable we are right now if we do not lock arms and say, you know what, we said no. We are American citizens and we have to be able to do that. So start getting involved with your local, understand your constitution, get involved with your local city council, your school board. Do not miss a school board meeting ever again. This is getting away from us. Matter of fact, you really don't have any time. You just must do it. End of story. Go to offbeatbusiness.com to get our content, or go to OBBM Network on Spotify, or iHeart and all of those things, and you'll be able to get all of our content in audio form. You can find all the OBBM Network channels on Roku, Rumble, and everywhere else, everywhere you've been and everywhere you're going. So will I be able to get a copy of this?
Not for about 4 minutes.
Well,
Yep.
I don't work that fast. You can't get something that fast from me. We're easily about a month out, but the content we've got is golden also. And I'm excited to start exploring Be Connected and see
That's
how
right.
our channels are
You'll
going
have
to
it probably within 15 minutes.
awesome. You'll go out in my newsletter.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for joining us here on Scott Schilling Speaks. We'll see you again tomorrow, exact same time. God bless.